1043 MYfm, it's Jon Comouche. I got Alessia Cara in the studio with me today. First of all, just thanks for coming in. How you feeling?
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm feeling good. I'm very excited. It's I was telling you earlier 2 seconds ago, it's like my first interview in a while, it seems.
I bet.
Back at it, yeah.
Which is why I got to lead with this very first question. It's like the most popular comment on your TikTok. Girl, where you been?
I know that. Well, I'm glad people are asking. It means they still care.
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
Yeah, I've been writing an album for the last 3 years. I've just been with my head down, writing a ton of music and just kind of experiencing regular life for a little bit because the last 10 years of my life, or the last 8 years before I started 7 years before I started writing the album, were insanely crazy. So I just wanted to write, take my time to experience, and just kind of feel like a person again, and then get back out once I was ready.
Do you feel like it is important to let's say you're done with the last album? It's been 3 years ish, right?
Yeah.
So after that, before you even touch a pen and start writing again, do you feel like you need a little bit of cleansing time, like a palette reset where you don't write at all, or are you just back writing the minute you feel something after?
I would say for me, I need a little bit of time, just because. I don't know, every album you're speaking from a different voice and a different place, and in my case, just personal experiences, and without those personal experiences, I can't really feel connected to the things I'm writing. I can write and make things up, and I've written songs where I'm, writing from other people's perspectives and stuff, but I don't know, I feel like to make a whole body of work, I have to kind of live an experience and then find the voice that I'm writing from, which takes a minute. Right. Yeah.
And I'm excited to hear about the music. I'm asking about that in just a minute here, but I'm kind of curious about what that 3-year period looks like since we've seen you. What are some of the best things you've done? What are maybe some of the hard points? What's a peak and a low of the last couple of years?
Ooh, peak and a low. Well, I got a dog. That's definitely a peak.
Nice. Okay, what kind of dog?
She's a Cocker Spaniel Poodle mix.
I love that.
I think it's called a Cockapoo.
A
Hate the name.
Yeah, no, that's right.
The name kills me. The name makes me laugh. But yeah, so she's the best. She's definitely the best thing that's happened in the last few years.
Did you get her as a puppy?
I did get her as a puppy.
So have you been dealing with the demon stage and?
Oh yeah. Well, now she's good. So she's past age 3, obviously. Yeah. So she's good now.
I hear after 2 it calms down a bit.
That's what they say, right? Yeah. I think she's in dog year. She's 32 or something now. So
she's older than me already.
She's older than me. Yeah. I'm
crazy.
Okay. So I guess you don't have to listen to me. You're older than me now. But so definitely went through that whole phase, which was a challenge. But it was also kind of still kind of COVID time. So. Thankfully it wasn't I got to be home and be with her.
It's a peak and a low within itself.
Right there. Honestly, it's so true. COVID was definitely a low, and peak was getting her. She's the best.
So when do you know that you're ready to get this thing started again, to start writing new music, to come out with new music? At what point do you feel that you're ready? How do you know?
I think for me it was just when I felt like I said everything that I needed to say for the project, and when the story just felt completed. Of course, there's always new experiences every day, and I mean, if I were to just go off of every experience, I would never be finished the album. But for this story, I felt like I said everything that I wanted to say, and it got the message across. So I just kind of stopped when I felt like I had all the good songs and the story was there. Yeah.
And your fans, they seem so ready for you to come back on social media. I've seen so much of it already. And I think that's one thing they credit you for, that you do take your time with your music. You really don't come back until you're ready. Do you think that an artist can spend too much time away?
I mean, I guess so. It depends. If it's healthy for them, then no. But I mean, after a certain point, I'm sure that listeners would get a little bit antsy or tired of waiting, and I felt so bad making them wait so long, because they're the reason for my career, and I never want to just be selfish and be I'm just gonna go away forever, unless I really, really needed that. So maybe there is a too long period, but I also feel if it's healthy for you, there's never a too long or too short amount of time. It's whatever feels right. At the end of the day, we're people, and we have to do what is best for our health, and hopefully the fans understand. But I'm glad that they stuck around.
Yeah, they look like they do, for sure.
That's good.
So is this a new chapter, a new era? What is this new, I guess, period of music for you? How would you describe it?
I mean, sonically, it feels like all of the music that I really love to listen to, a collection of all my favorite genres of music, all my favorite, just songs that I listen to in a project, if that makes sense. So you can definitely get an idea of the music I love through hearing this, I think. I don't know. it probably sounds biased, and I'm going to probably say this for every project, but it is my favorite project I've ever made. So.
You should believe that. I think that's okay to say.
Yeah, I think you go on to elevate every time. Right.
Yeah. So. What do you want to, actually, I first want to go back and you struck my curiosity a little bit when you say it's a collection of artists you've been listening to lately. Mm-hmm. Now I'm kind of curious about like Alessia Cara's playlist. Like what are some things you're listening to right now, some artists you're excited about? Like, what does that look like? In
terms of, like, current artists, I mean, so many. I love, of course, like, Chappell Roan, Sabrina Carpenter, all the big pop stars right now. But I really love this artist named McGee. He's coming up, and he's, like, amazing. He's, like, his music is just mind-blowing to me. It's amazing. This band called Laundry Day from New York. They're awesome. A whole bunch of stuff. Of course, Brat. Charlie XCX. Mm-hmm. And in terms of other stuff, like my roster of music like spans like decades and decades. So I listen to like, Chili Peppers, Sade, Erykah Badu, Amy Winehouse, a whole range of people. But in terms of like newer stuff, that's definitely what I'm listening to.
So do you look back at your old albums, like let's say in the meantime, mm-hmm. and is there stuff you look at in those albums that you want to evolve from now? Like, do you think this is a step up from that? Or how do you distinguish that this is a different sound, or is it different at all compared to previous albums?
It's definitely different, I would say. It still feels like me. Like, I always try to make music that reflects the music that I love and listen to. So there's always going to be like an identity that feels like me throughout every album, but it feels the most me. It feels like a leap closer to the music that I've always wanted to make. And sometimes, when you're young and you're exploring and finding your footing, you don't quite get there, I guess. And I think every album that I've made, I've really like honed in on a specific lane, I think. And of course, all the songs sound a little bit different because I listen to so much stuff. But I don't know. It just feels like the most me, and the most like the music that I've aspired to make.
Are we talking about the album title yet? Have we announced that?
No, we haven't announced it.
Okay, we're keeping it low key.
I'll keep it low key. Yeah.
Okay, a little bit longer.
The next interview, when I come back, I'll tell you.
So can you say what you want? Like, what do you want this album to say about yourself?
Good question. I think, there's a lot of like little mini stories, amidst like the big through line. But I guess the through line is basically about like love and loss, and like self-love and loss within like your own personal stuff. So I guess I would say I would want them to know that I'm able to accept love and happiness because I've been able to accept loss and pain, and that's kind of the through line of the story.
That is real. Yeah. I feel like in the last couple of years, I just turned 30, and I feel like in the last couple of years, that's when I've noticed that more than any other period in my life. Mm-hmm. Like I feel like in your 20s, you change so much.
Yeah.
But then like as you approach your late 20s, you start to get to this point where like it all just starts to make sense. Totally. Like you start accepting those things. Are those some of the themes that we can expect in that album?
100%. Yeah. Yeah, it's like a big puzzle, right? And like at first it doesn't really make sense, and you have like a few pieces missing, and you're like, I don't understand the picture here. And then as life goes on, every year of your life, you like start adding little pieces until the picture becomes clear. And I feel like that's what life is kind of like, and like going through those tribulations and all the bad stuff.
I truly feel like you're an artist who actually uses music to tell that story. Like I really do feel like it's your diary when I listen to your music.
Thank you.
Like, do you still feel that way?
For sure. Yeah, 100%. Like my music is like wildly personal to me, and it feels like like people are reading an entry of mine, which is always scary, but I'm glad that you say that, because that was the intention.
And you write a lot of your own songs, right? Almost all of them.
All of them, yeah.
Yeah. So why is that so important to you?
I don't know. Well, first of all, like when I was younger and I had all my favorite artists, I just assumed that everybody wrote their own music.
I think we all did, right?
Yeah,
it's like one of the curtain pullbacks when you start to get older. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was just always like an aspiration of mine, where it's like I want to do this, so I want to be a songwriter as well and write all my own music. And for the first album, I had a collaborator, Sebastian Cole, who's amazing, and he's like such a talented writer. But I just felt like I wanted to just find my own voice 100%, and I want my listeners to know that when they listen to me, it is my story, it is my voice, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with collaboration, and I still would love to do that, and I have done it for other things. But yeah, I don't know. I just felt like it's just something that I fell into, and I just enjoy doing it. And it challenges me too to like write on my own, because when you have somebody there, sometimes it can feel like a crutch, or you're like scared to say your own ideas, or you don't push yourself. But when it's just you.
Yeah, that feels like, I'm not a songwriter, but I feel like that would be the hardest part to me. Like it's already kind of nerve-wracking to share your feelings in the same room with someone, mm-hmm. and to be completely honest with other people in the room, sometimes that you're maybe not best friends with, like I can't imagine getting over that.
It's hard, yeah. And I'm a shy person, so like sharing my stories. Sebastian was was an exception because we got to know each other, and I felt comfortable. But like, it's hard to just like share your story, even when the producer's there and I'm writing on my own, and like some things that I'm saying, I'm like, oh, it's like so scary to say this, in front of people. But that's why it's good to stay close or like become close with the people you're working with. Yeah.
So let's talk about the new single, Dead Man. It is a banger. Dude.
Really?
I really love like how raw it feels. Like I love all the real instruments you use in it. Like it's I'm an old jazz band trumpet player, so like when I hear that trumpet in there, I'm like, let's go. Like,
no way. That's
you don't really hear that as much in pop music anymore.
Yeah, not really. Yeah, that's so cool that you're a trumpet player. Should have hit you up if I had
know.
known.
For real. I don't know if I got those chops anymore. But.
No, I think it's probably like riding a bike. But I mean, again, like it's definitely a reflection of a specific genre, this song in particular that I love, which is jazz and like soul and like Motown and swing and all that kind of stuff. It's like some of my favorite music to listen to, and I just felt like I wanted to like put a contemporary spin on that, and hopefully we achieved it. But it's just like kind of a little self-indulgent part because I just really love trumpets. I love like just horn sections in songs that I listen to, so I felt like it'd be fun to kind of include it in this.
I'm so glad you did that. Like
awesome.
It really does like itch a little part of my brain that like I feel like I need. You know what I mean?
That's good. I'm glad you say that.
Do you have expectations when you release this first single and with the album coming up? Like, is there a pressure on you? How would you know that it's a success if it is?
It's tough. It's honestly tough now, too, because I feel like the industry is so wildly different from how it used to be when I first started, like 10 years ago. It's a completely different ballpark. I feel like I'm still adjusting and learning how to become an artist in this new age, and success and the definition of success is so vastly different than what it was. Like, it's not about like a number one on a chart or like a milestone. It's like, this means your song is successful. Right. It's like now it's just like it could be culturally successful. It could be successful with a group of people. It could be successful on a social media platform. Like, you really don't know. But to me, I think success is just like if the listeners that I have enjoy it and love it, and if it garners new listeners or not, like I just hope that the people that have been following me and have been waiting for this music love it as much as I do. Like, that to me is like success.
And when you listen to it, it feels like you.
Oh, that's good. I'm glad.
Yeah. Oh, that is so cool. So what can you tell us about the album to come? What other details can you share?
Well, I mean, I guess I kind of said already, it's sort of like, an album about love and loss. Mm-hmm. And I've never really written about love this heavily before. Like, it's been sprinkled throughout my other projects, but most of my albums have been about like self-reflection. And while there is a lot of self-reflection on this album too, and moments of that, it is ultimately an album about accepting real love and like what that feels like and the journey to get to that, I would say. So
why did you dive a little bit deeper into that this time?
I think just because it was like personal experience, learning to feel safe and healthy in a relationship. It's something that I've never really experienced until the last couple of years. So I just felt like it was the most prominent thing to write about because it was the most prominent thing in my life. Yeah.
Well, Alessia, I'm so excited to hear the rest of it. Thank you again for coming in.
Thank you.
Dead Man is out now. You can stream it on the free iHeartRadio app.
Yeah.
Woo.